Hello, my name is Rochelle, and today we are going to be doing my first ever reading wrap up on my channel. So, round of applause for that, Okay, so this month I actually read a lot of books. On average, I read 5 books. This month I read 8. And if I sound weird, it's because my allergies are acting up, so ignore that. But I read 8 books and I actually have some new faves, so I'm excited to tell you about them. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so the first book I read this month was And Then Life is Beautiful. This book is a romance. It's about 2 people who end up having an accidental pregnancy. So they're kind of just trying to navigate and make the relationship work. Okay, this is actually confusing to describe, but okay, so there's the main couple, right? They end up having an accidental pregnancy. But then the main guy, he also had another baby that he didn't know about. So he has a newborn baby and then the girl is pregnant. It sounds a mess. It is a mess. But yeah, that is the premise of the story. And I hate pregnancy trope. So I know you're probably like, if you hate pregnancy trope, why did you read this book? Because I wanted to give it a chance because everyone said that this book was so good. And I feel like if you like pregnancy trope, you will love this book. Me, however, I could not get past it. I just hate pregnancy and romance. Is like, it's a horror story. Please stop. Like, gosh. But overall, the book was okay. I just think that this author, because this is actually my second book by her romances are very low angst, and I like my romances to be very angsty. I like the drama of it all. I like, to be like, oh my gosh, are the characters gonna end up together? Yes, I know you're gonna end up together, but in my head, I wanna be delusional and think, oh my gosh, they have to fight to be together. I just like the drama of it all. So, overall, this book was a 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite, but it wasn't bad. I feel like if you like pregnancy trope, you're probably gonna eat this book up. For me, however, it just wasn't a fave. Next, I started the Natural series, and this book is about a group of kids who have not supernatural powers, but they're talented in ways. Like, some can tell if you're lying, automatically. Others can read your body language to figure out crimes. So everyone told me that this is basically a YA version of Criminal Minds. And that's honestly the best way to describe this book. It's about a group of kids. They are secretly working with the CIA, and they're solving cold cases. I honestly love this book. And I'm so excited to read book 2 because I heard book 2 was even better than book 1. Now, for me personally, this book was not predictable. But hey, I had a really good time reading this. It was just fun all around. And there's a bit of romance in this book. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really care for the romance. I don't feel like it was necessary. But maybe in book 2 it'll be developed more, so then I'll actually care about it. But the mysteries in this book, top tier. I had a good time reading this. And then next I read what is this called? With Love from Cold World. I was really excited to read this book solely because of the cover. The cover is so cute, this comic book cover. What is on my cover? What is this? Do y'all see that? Anyways, I'll handle that later. Okay, so this book is about 2 employees who basically work at, it's this amusement park in Florida. It's basically kind of I don't want to say Disney World, because no, it's kind of it's a winter themed amusement park in Florida. I wouldn't call this enemies to lovers because I feel like people use that too loosely. I'm just gonna say they didn't vibe with each other in the beginning, but then they end up having to kind of work together because their boss puts them on a project on how to boost revenue for the business. So then they end up starting to connect, yada yada. The romance was chill, it was fine. I would consider this a buffer book. It's not gonna blow you away. It won't be something that you think about for years to come, but it was fine, it was fun. I'm not gonna lie to you though, I did skim the last 100 pages because honestly I felt like this was 100 pages too long. The story could have wrapped up at 250. It was cool, it was chilled. It was a book. Next, I read The City We Became. Now, unfortunately, I did end up DNFing this one, which really sucks because I really wanted to love this one. But you know what? It's my fault because when I picked up this book, I don't know why I thought that this book was fantasy, because this author has another book called The Fifth Season. I swear that one is fantasy. If not, well, then I don't know where I got that information from, but I thought that this was straight fantasy. So then when I picked it up, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm ready to read some fantasy. It's cold outside, let me curl in bed and read it. This is sci-fi. I've only read one other sci-fi book, and it was An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. That book is fine, it was cool, it was whatever, but I'm not a sci-fi girl. So I got to page 150. The book is not bad. I think if you like sci-fi, you're honestly gonna love this book because the author made it really creative. The whole premise of the story is that New York City is actually alive. It is alive, and there is a negative entity trying to destroy it, and these people like they're each different parts of New York. Like there's a Manhattan, there's a Bronx, there's a Staten Island, and it's like they all kind of have to come together to defeat this evil entity. Now I didn't finish it, so I can't tell you how it ends. But the part that I did read, it was good. I'm just not a sci-fi girl, so it just didn't interest me as much as I know it should. And since this is like a, you know, a big book, I was like, I'm not gonna force myself to finish it because then I will be in a slump. But I don't know, I think if you like sci-fi, you're really gonna love this. After that, I read Snowed In. Obviously, I was still in my Christmas mood. This book was really cute. And I'm so glad that I read it because I told myself I was gonna wait till next December to read it. But I was just like, no, let's just read it because it was snowing outside. I was like, let's just do it. Let's just have fun, read it, whatever. So this book is about two people. They grew up together, but then they end up reconnecting down the line. And it's basically fake dating. They make this pact with each other. Hey, we gotta go home for the holidays. Both of our families think we're like single, lonely, and sad. So let's just act like we're dating each other. So you know how that goes. Obviously, they end up falling for each other. And this book was just really cute. Like, you know, the main guy in this book, Christian, like he was just very genuine and sweet. And honestly, I loved seeing the romance blossom, honestly. When it's like a fake dating trope in romance books, the main guy, he's always kind of like grumpy. And then there's always that scene where he's kind of like, oh, if you touch her, I'll kill you. You know, that scene that's always there. And there's nothing wrong with that scene. However, in this book, there was a moment where that could have happened. But instead of doing that, he kind of let her stand up for herself. And not in a bad way, like, oh, I'm not gonna help you out. It was just kind of like, I know you got it, so I'm gonna let you stand on your own for a minute. But if you need me, I'm here. And I really like that. I like how the author did that instead of always having the guy just be aggressive and, you know, try to handle everything. So I thought that was really cute. Honestly, even though it's a holiday romance, I recommend reading it if you're in a slump. Because honestly, it's quick, it's fun, it's cute, and it's easy. So yeah, Snowed In. And then I read Betting on You. This is my first book by Lynn Painter, and it definitely will not be my last. If you like early 2000 rom-coms, read this book. It gave me that vibe. It was so nostalgic. It was just so easy. Because, you know, all the early 2000s, like high school rom-coms, they all have the same plot. Well, let's be honest, they all do. But it's just so adorable every time you watch it. And like reading it, and I know how it's gonna end. I don't care. It was just so cute. It was so fun, and I just loved it. Okay, so the whole point of the story is the two main characters, Bailey and Charlie, they end up meeting on a flight years before, and then they end up meeting again years later, and they work at this amusement park. Wow, I read 2 books where the main characters works at amusement parks. And then they end up working at this amusement park together, right? And then they make this bet. They make a bet about one of Bailey's friends. They end up talking on the phone because of the bet and stuff, but then they slowly end up falling for each other. And I think the way Lynn Painter talked about like how it is to be a child of divorce, because like both of the characters in the book, like Bailey and Charlie, both of their parents are divorced, and that's how they honestly end up connecting over that subject. I think the way the author touched on it, it was really, I really enjoyed it. Like she didn't make it just seem like, oh, it's gonna be so easy, you're just gonna fall in love with your new parent or whatever. Like she actually showed how it's hard to adjust to that life and let go of your old life. And like, even though you see your parents being happy with someone new, you're still like hurt over it, and it's okay to be hurt. So honestly, I love that. And plus this is YA, so you know, younger people are going to be reading this. So if a young person is going through that, I think the fact that she put that in the book was actually really helpful. So I love that. But overall, this book was 5 stars. It was just so cute. It was just so cozy. I actually have the physical copy of The Love Wager, and then I want to read Better Than the Movies. I don't know, which one should I read first? If you read both those books, which one should I read first? Or if you read all her books, which book should I read next? And then I finally finished the Carvel series. First of all, I've been reading this series for 2 years now. When I read Carvel, am I actually gonna go back and describe all the books to you? Yeah, I am. When I read Carvel, I gave that book 3 stars, and I told myself I was never gonna finish because I bought the whole box set like in one. I told myself I was never gonna finish because the way Carvel ended, to me, it felt like a slap in the face. Even though it made sense to the story, it felt like a slap in the face. So I said, you know what, I'm not gonna finish the series. But then I ended up reading Legendary like 3 months ago. I don't know why I ended up reading it, but I did, and I enjoyed it. But the thing about the Carvel series for me, while I'm reading it, I really enjoy it. But then as soon as I put the book down, I don't remember what the heck happened. Now, with Finale, once again, I did enjoy it, but I actually remember what happened this time. So I can't really give you a summary of this without spoiling the whole series, but if you don't know what Carvel's about, it's like this carnival thing, this magical carnival that kind of comes around every few years, and then if you win it, I think you get a wish or something like that. I think this was a good wrap up to the story. I ended up giving it 4.5. Now, I still don't know if I want to continue and read Once Upon a Broken Heart, because overall, I think the Carnival series was like 4 stars. And I have commitment issues. It takes a lot for me to want to finish a series or start a series. So I don't know. It's like the Carnival series, like, yeah, it's 4 stars, but it's just like, okay, it wasn't anything that, you know, is going to stick with me forever. So I'm like, do I really want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart? Because I feel like it's going to be on the same vibe. But then everyone says that one is better. And then it's Jax's story, and I kind of like Jax. I want to know more about him, so I kind of do want to read it, but then I'm kind of like, I don't know. If you read Once Upon a Broken Heart, is it worth it? Should I do it or should I just leave it? I don't know. But yeah, I read Finale and I thought it was a good wrap up to the story. I gave 4.5. I enjoyed it. And then last but not least, I read Their Vicious Games. Now this was such a good book because after reading The Naturals, I felt like I was just like in my Nancy Drew era. I just wanted to read mysteries, I just wanted to read thrillers, and then I came across this book, Their Vicious Games. So the main character in this book, she goes to this private school where everyone's like rich and privileged and stuff, and they live in mansions and stuff, and she doesn't have that life. Like, she's just very average. She's just there, you know, and she ends up getting accepted into Harvard, but then something happens where she loses her scholarship to Harvard, and that's all she wanted to, you know, get out of her average life. When she sees all these people living glamorous lives around her, like, that was her shot to get out. So once she lost that scholarship, she felt like she lost everything. But then there's this thing that one of the wealthiest families in their state holds this competition called The Finish. She was thinking The Finish is just gonna be like an academic competition. You know, I just gotta go in there. I'm a really good student. I can go in there. I can ace it, yada, yada. But no, The Finish is something much more. It's darker and it is more than she was expecting. Like, I can't tell you too much without spoiling anything for you. This book touched on a lot of issues. Like, I would say it touched on like class. It touched on like your morals, like how far you would go for something, which I thought was really interesting. Like the way the author portrayed this, it was really good. It was really fast paced. And gosh, I was so, and you know how I know I really love this story? Because there was moments where I would get so mad at the main character, and that only happens when I care so much about the character because I care about the story. Like, some of the stuff she was doing, I was like, girl, this is literally a game of survival, and you're letting your emotions get the best of you. Please stop. But yeah, there was just so many moments where I was just mad at her. I was like, girl, get it together. But that's only because I love the book that much. Honestly, Their Vicious Games and The Naturals is tied for my favorite books of the month. So I don't know. I think I actually am in my mystery girl era. Who knows? If you liked Ace of Spades, read this book. If you read this and you didn't read Ace of Spades, read Ace of Spades, because these books, they're not similar in plot, but they give the same vibes. And honestly, they're both just so amazing. And I really loved it. Okay, so that is everything I read this month, and I don't know if I will be doing a TBR. I told myself I'm not doing any TBRs this year because I never stick to them, and then when I don't stick to them, I end up feeling like trash. So we're probably not going to do a TBR, but if you have any suggestions for me to read this month, please let me know. But that is everything. That is officially my first reading wrap up, and yeah, I'm so glad you were here to take this journey with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye.